Nigel Farage is our dear colleague and friend, joining us from the United Kingdom, where he spent a bit of time with the Conservatives at their conference. We'll get to that a little bit later. But what about Trump today? So Trump goes to court. A judge has already effectively pre-decided that his businesses are going to be taken away from him. But just in case anyone ever doubted the theatre at times of the American justice system, it was on full display today. No one expected a camera in there, but a camera was brought in by a judge, because finally, there it was, the footage that the left have dreamed of since he came down the escalator. Trump in court. There was the glaring Attorney General, and then there was the judge who was posing for the images. They are laying it on as thick as possible, particularly on this one.
Well, they certainly are, Paul. But the whole thing is corrupt beyond belief. Let me explain briefly why. He's in court because the accusation is he overvalued his businesses in order to get bank loans from which he made a profit of $100 million. Now, by the way, all those loans have been paid back in full. The judge has valued Mar-a-Lago at $18 million, right? This shows you how corrupt the whole system is. I had dinner last night with a real estate guy here in Manchester who said he paid $500 million for it. He thought maybe it's the best piece of real estate on the whole east coast of America. It may well sell for $1 billion. And yet he's in court being accused of undervaluing his businesses, and the judge puts an $18 million tag on it. That tells you how corrupt the whole judicial system is in America, and it shows you why none of these show trials will hurt Trump's ratings one little bit. What is going on is an absolute disgrace.
Well, but also, don't forget, nobody made a complaint from the banks. The banks got paid back in full, made no complaint. This is the state observing the situation and a judge determining what the numbers are and clearly loving. I mean, look at that. That is hardly dispassionate behaviour from a judge. Instead, Lady Justice is supposed to be blind and sober, not posing for the cameras. A little insight into, how some of these people are spiking the ball before it's even over the line. So let's talk about the Green Sportsperson of the Year. Another award Australia should be desperately happy because it's gone to our Patrick Cummins. And by our, I mean somebody else's, Patrick Cummins.
Yeah, well, Pat, of course, is a wonderful player, but is king of the wokes, I'm afraid. So he'll be absolutely delighted with this award. But you know what? What a complete and utter waste of money. We have to pay a licence fee to watch the left-wing BBC, and they're wasting it on awards like this. It's an absolute joke. And please, Mr. Cummins, just turn it down.
Can we talk about the Tory conference? Because, as we speak, that is, in fact, in Manchester, where you are. You're doing a show from there on GB News. Great show. Find it on the Flash app, YouTube all over the shop. Now, let's talk here. Rishi Sunak, since he started to roll back on some of the dumber bits of the net zero play, he's started to narrow the gap. It's now apparently 10 points. But what are you starting to see? Are you seeing people that are enjoying their last conference before losing power, or people who actually think they've got a shot?
There is a real battle going on here. There is a split between the so-called One Nation Tories, who are basically social democrats, and the more Brexity wing of the Conservatives, who are sceptical about net zero, believe we should control our borders. But the fight, really, Paul, is not for the next election. It's for who becomes the leader after they've lost the next election. That's what's really going on. This party is split down the middle. We've had 13 years of failure. Yeah, sure, Sunak said some sensible things about net zero, but it's all a bit half-hearted. None of it's really very bold. He's a nice bloke. He's probably got the highest IQ of any PM in recent times. He doesn't have the skills of political leadership, sadly.
Yeah, here's part of what he had to say, the UK Prime Minister.
People may be critical of it, but I believe I'm doing the right thing for the country. I'm not going to shy away from that. If I believe the right thing to do is to chart a new course to net zero that will save ordinary families £5, £10, £15, £20,000, I'm going to do it. And whether it's him, whether it's anyone else who wants to be critical of that decision, I'm okay with that. They should be the ones that explain why they think it is right to put those costs on people. Might be fine for them to afford it. It's not fine for everyone else. I don't think it's right.
Nigel, we love you. Keep it up in Manchester, and we'll talk to you again next week.
That's it.
Thank you, mate. The only place you'll see him on Aussie TV is right here. Paul Murray Live every Tuesday night. Wednesday nights with Megan Kelly. We've got the best in the business here at this little time of night each and every night.